some of you are aware that I have anointed myself as an expert on what a Toastmasters Club website should be. And I will pontificate on this topic to any audience, locally, online, internationally, on the Facebook International group. I will tell you what should be on your club homepage. Things like images, like video, like a great headline. Ours is, "Come join our awesome speakers and leaders." That's a good message. Do you know what is not a good message? Fatal error. Unexpected T function, live 5108. Nothing but that. A big white page with just that message and a file reference where that error occurred. Well, you know, I remember that very shortly after I began improving the Club Awesome website, I improved it into that state, and I got a call from my president saying, "Why does it say that?" You want to know why it says that? It's because I forgot a semicolon. I mean, seriously, a semicolon? A semicolon is the least dignified piece of punctuation in the English language. A semicolon means roughly, I couldn't decide whether this should be a comma or a period. So I'll make it a semicolon, and nobody knows what that means, so nobody can say that I'm wrong. But in a number of the most popular programming languages, semicolon is a big deal. The semicolon is the end of a statement. You leave out the semicolon, you have a run-on sentence, and the computer says, "Wah! I don't know what to do. I can't go on, I can't possibly." It is like the fussiest grammar Nazi counter that you have ever encountered. But when that happens, it is my fault. It is entirely my fault. It means that I was so eager to improve things that I rushed something out into the universe. And because of open source distribution and this notion of cloud software, I am able to distribute my software all over the world and wreak this havoc on not just my own club, but on other clubs in Australia, all over the place. Now, of course, people put up with me because sometimes my software works. Sometimes. Now, the fact that it's able to work at all is remarkable, because I did not start out as a particularly good computer nerd. I mean, I had some of the prerequisites: a deep love of science fiction, complete lack of social skills. We have that covered. But back in high school, I was introduced to the computer that the computer club had access to, and it was a terminal, and it was connected to something off in the district office, and you were supposed to feed in punch hole paper tape or punch cards or some darn thing. I said, "That's not a computer. I've seen Star Trek. That's not right." Well, of course, you know, given no more access than I had, Bill Gates and Paul Allen set about learning how to create operating systems and programming languages and founded Microsoft. So the difference between them and me is we had basically the same access, but they're billionaires, and I'm not. I went off to college, and I signed up for a computer programming class because I theoretically wanted to learn this. But they wanted me to learn Fortran and apply it to some fictional banking system where we were taking money out of one account and putting it in. I didn't want to work for a bank, so I dropped the course. It wasn't until years later I was working at a newspaper, and we were starting to bring PCs into the newsroom, and I got involved in wiring together the PCs and the Macs. Of course, they didn't talk with the computer system that really ran the newspaper, the computer system that got in the stories from the wire service. So it was just being used by the feature department originally. But eventually we figured out how to wire those PCs together with the steam-powered computer in the back end, the thing that drove the typesetting machine. And we could pull over files, but the files were full of gobbledygook, all sorts of codes for the end of paragraphs, the bold text, the italic text. they were all asterisks and codes that didn't make sense to anything else. And if you brought them into one of those programs on the Mac, you'd have to spend a lot of time cleaning it up. So I got a book on C programming that was about this thick, and I didn't understand most of it. I probably still wouldn't understand most of it. But I learned how to pull in a file, do something with it, and output another file. And in between, we were able to convert those asterisks and codes that only made sense to the typesetting machine out back into an import format that the Macs could understand. So I had done something useful. Now, of course, there's probably somebody in this room who is an IT person or a professional computer programmer who is thinking, what's this about pushing code live to the website and having things crash? I mean, that's not professional. They're supposed to be QA. They're supposed to be testing. And you're right, and I'm trying to do better. I am. But you know what? I am not so impressed with what the professional computer programmers are doing these days either. Has anybody heard the phrase, software is eating the world? This comes from a guy named Mark Anderson, who was at one time the wonderkind behind Netscape Navigator, the first commercial web browser. He's now a venture capitalist, and his point is that everything is turning into a website. Everything from dating to getting a ride from the airport is turning into an app on your phone. But have you been in that situation where the phone is ringing and you can't get it to act like a phone? You're trying to swipe, you're trying to find the button to answer the call, and it's busy showing you Twitter feeds. And so, what's worse is we now just renovated our kitchen, and it's now a digital oven and a digital coffee maker. And the coffee maker is ordering us around, telling us to clean it constantly. Certain functions of the oven are only available if you toggle it from English to Swedish. Others are only available if you put it in from American English to UK English, and then all the temperatures go to Celsius. So there's more chaos in the world than I am creating. And the one thing that I do love about computers is that at least it's a puzzle that I can solve eventually. Because I mess up in my personal life too, but my wife never tells me what line error I made the mistake on. She just tells me, you know what you did. Mr. Contest Master.